Hello, this is Teacher Peter again, and this time we're going to do a sample lesson, or just a combinational lesson. So it's how to teach reading using sandpaper letters. Well, I'd just like to mention from the last video I forgot one thing. When you are finished with the sandpaper letter, I recommend sticking it onto cardboard. Any cardboard. I got this old, just from a clock I bought, the package. So stick it onto the cardboard, and like the other ones, just trim them up. So you cut them up just cut them up so you can join the letters together, that's all. So just cut the sandpaper down. I'll cut the backing off, but that's only to make it easier so the kids don't wreck them, but a bit stronger, a bit safer, and then it looks a bit better when you're doing it. Now this time we are doing how to teach the kid. Well, you pick up, I usually start with a vowel. Now this is A, but you don't say A because when you use the ABCs it's very confusing for the student, the child, because you have to say there's A. They learn the phonic sound, A. So, and also the problem with A's is there's two, long A and a short A, but just stick to one at a time. Don't bring the other one, it's too confusing. So this time we just do the short A, but just say A. So this sound is A. So you get your kid to look at it, say A, and then get the kid to trace it the same way as the drawing. They go here and they go A, 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 or just say A. Because that's the sound of the letter, and you want them to learn the sounds of the letters, so they can, when they see that word, that letter, they know it sounds like A. So when they're reading, they read the word as A, not as A. So try to stick to A. Now that's a vowel sound. A, you basically got to use a vowel. I always start with a vowel. A is pretty good to start with because a lot of letters, a lot of words have A in them, little ones. Now when you're bringing in the consonants, the other ones, well, Maria actually recommends you run them together. Don't learn them separately. Makes it a bit more difficult. But this time we'll bring in T, or T, 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 T. So as you can see, when I said cut them off, you can join them together. And also these are on blue, so the kid knows that these are vowels. There's only 5 vowels, but they're in every word. But when you do these, you join the two words together. And that's actually a sight word. At. At. So you get the kid to say at, t, at, t, at. And they trace at, t, at. And they do that, well, they'll do it as often as they like, because they do like the feel of the sandpaper letters. They must say at, t. You don't, but saying at, t is not really what you want, because if they see the word like at and t, it's at, t, well, it doesn't sound like at. So the sound must be the same way you speak. That's why they can join the spoken word with the written word. So instead of saying at, you've got to try and get the kid to say at as they're tracing it. At. So it sounds like at. And that way they can match the spoken word with the written word. At. And they can say at. So when they see that word, they say at. I know that word. But that's the general theory behind the sandpaper letters, is matching the sound with the feel, the sound, and with the sight. At. And they keep tracing it. And a lot of kids will just keep tracing it because they like the feel of the letters, that's all. So let them do that. They can trace it as often as they like. Now that's 2 letters there. at. It's also a sight word. So we bring in the next one, which they all love, and this one here. It's the old C. We don't say C, we say cat. Cat. Get the phonic sound so the child can work out that this letter sounds like cat. So when they see the word, instead of saying C, because it doesn't sound like C, they say cat. And then you get the three, and so you join them together. Well, it's a bit offline, but normally they will join together. That's cat, at, cat, at. Cat. We'll try and do two at a time when you do these. And normally if the letters are better lined up, it should be okay. Then they go cat, at. And that's not a word, but cat, at. So they know the sound of the word, what the sound of the word looks like. Cat, at, at. And if you add in the T, then that's a good one because they can understand it. They go cat, and they do know what it means. Cat, at, t. But you get them to say cat as they're tracing the word. Cat, at, t. Cat. Cat, at, t. Cat. That's basically the theory behind it. But then you jumble up the words. Jumble them up. Oops, not very good. Jumble up the words so the kid has to find the right word. So then you say, give me a eh. And the kid comes up, eh, and then they trace the word, eh. Then you can say, give me a t. And the kid will come up, oh, t. And they trace the word, t. And then you say, give me a cat. And they'll find the C, cat. And then you say, but later on, make cat. Cat. And then they will have to reshuffle the letters to make the word cat. Now that's a very good one to start with because then you can bring in another one. This is a F. Fa. Fa. Don't say F. Say fa. Fa. And you put this one in here. Fa. And you use the A again. Those two are not ways because fa joins up A. The F is below the line, so it joins up like that. Fa. So you go fa, eh, fa, and they trace the fa, eh. And they trace the eh, fa, eh, fa, eh. And you can take that away. Don't do it as fast as I'm doing it. Do it. Let the kid take their time. When they're finished, they will stop doing it. Then you move that away and you say, put the T in, at again. And they got to learn to do at. And then when they're finished with that, you say fat. Just say fat. And see if the kid can get it. I'll think. You can see going tick, 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 tick. And a lot of them don't, like making, the kids are not sure what to do. So if you do, they don't say, or you might say cat. Cat. Give me a cat. Because they'll probably do that because they know cat. I'll put C there. Cat. Then you see if they can work it out. You say fat. Fat. You can do the action fat. Fat. And then hopefully they might bring in the F. It might take some doing. Because the kids, they are not sure what they have to do when they're quite young. They're still working out the rules. So once I've done it a few times, I'll do it faster. But the first few times are a bit slow because I'm just not sure what they're supposed to do. So then you get fat, 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 and then you can move them all over again. And you say, okay, now where's our t, 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 t? And they go, t. They get a t, and then they've got to do the tracing bit. Now the tracing bit is quite important because it actually shows them how they're going to write the letter when they start writing. And because the feel, if they run off, then they go, that's the wrong way, because they can feel the difference. And they know, as long as you say which way to go, oops, they know what to do. And they can feel it. And that actually plants it in here for some reason. Because they're feeling it, it plants it up here. If they use a middle finger, don't worry. Use a little finger, don't worry. Because they're using what they like using. So there's a tit, and they'll find the tit. Then you can say, aha, fat, fat. And they go, ooh, fat, whoa. And they go, fat, and they'll do this. Find the fat. The F, the fat. And that's because they're very good. Yes, you give them a sticker or something. They like that sort of thing. Don't give them lollies, but just give them stickers or something. But then ask them to make up the word fat. Fat at. You might have to say fat at instead of saying fat. It's the first. And then when they're just starting, then you can say fat. And hopefully they look at it, they look, zoom in, and they zoom, all wrong ones. Fat, and they get the thing the right way around, fat. And they know fat, fat, fat. So that's when they do it, they trace, the more tracing they do, but when they trace, they must say the word. Very important that they say the phonic sounds and the words as they're tracing them. They just don't go, they go fat, they can fat, 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 fat. You can change it back to cat, cat, cat. So when they're quite confident with those two letters there, F, fat and cat, they've got that, so they've got that one pretty sewed up. You can bring in another letter now, rat, sat, S, good looking S, sat. Now, as long as some kids don't know the words. They should know cat. If they've got a cat, they all know cat. But they don't, they should know cat. Fat, they might not be too sure of. Now, sat, it's past tense, because they won't say that. It'll be sit. They won't know, they shouldn't know sat. So you'll have to tell them what sat is. So when you put this one, sat, what's this? New one, sat. They don't know what it is. You say sat, sat, and you do the loopy bit. Sat, 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 sat. And then you bring back the at. Here. Sat, sat. And they go sat. Sat, at, sat. And you'll have to explain what sat means. They won't know. Past tense, they probably won't know. So a lot of them they don't know. So as long as you can explain the word, and they understand the word. Because a lot of them they could write sat. Once they've been practicing this, sat, you will find that they can read and write or read, but they don't always understand what they're reading. So you must explain the word. Now that sat, it's past tense. They might not know that. Sat. So stick to nouns. So we shouldn't use that one. So use that there. No, that's sat. Now you can back to the game again, where you space them all out, and you say, "Give me a fat, fat, fat," and they go, "Oh yeah, fat." There it is. Fat, fat. Give me a fat, and I'll make the word. hopefully. Fat. And they must trace the word fat. 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 So that's the general theory of bringing in words that rhyme. Rhyming is a very important part of rhyming. And rhyming has gone back. Well, my grandmother, some of the rhymes my mother taught me were the same ones that we're using now. And I'm sure my grandmother used the same ones. The rhyming books like Humpty Dumpty and them, they're all similar. So we bring in all the rhyming words, because actually rhyming does help with reading. Now that's when you're bringing in the short A. Now if you want to bring in and really confuse the issue, you can bring in the ah. The ah. Now, you get carried away. Now, ah. Now you say ah, which is rat, or rat. Very difficult, rat. So when you stick this here, doesn't match up, but that is rat. Now a lot of them probably know mouse, they don't know rat, a big mouse. So rat, that's rat. But when you want to do the long R, you change it round to here. Now they should know that one. Let them do it first. So they should know, they know ka, ah. But they don't know the long sounds. They say ka, ah. With a long A sound. Ka. They've got to draw out the A on this one. Ka. Okay. So you can bring in something like just change the direction of the rhyme. Ka. Then you say, do me find cat. And then they should hopefully cat. And they put the T back. And then they go cat. Like that. Now that is generally the idea of bringing in new letters, new rhyming words, and adding on to what your child knows. It's not about just throwing in any words, or probably if they're getting a bit left behind at school, grade 3 and grade 4 or something, and their reading's a bit sketchy, you can actually make up the words in sandpaper letters, the big words they're learning at school. But when they're starting out and they don't know reading, you just build on what they know and just keep adding more and more and more of the same thing, like cat goes into car. And then if you want, you can go far. See? You can join them in like that. And that way your child doesn't get so confused. And they're learning more all the time. They're tracing the letters, they're getting good at it. And then you jumble up the letters and ask them to make the words. Now that is actually the main process of how to use sandpaper letters to teach reading. Just keep doing that, adding more and more and more. Now sometimes you need double letters, like T. If you haven't got two T's, just use the standalone letters. And when you're using like these standalone letters, here's the one we made before, you can put them on the table when you've got lots of them, and they can start making up the words without using the sandpaper letters. This part here is to just get them into the feel of the letter and the phonic sound. They must match the phonic sound with the letter. So the sound they hear the sound. When they say the sound, they can point to the letter. They know what it sounds like. And that is the big thing about reading, is matching the spoken word with the written word. And that's where the phonics come in. Anyway, well, I hope you could understand all that. And letters, as you can see, they're nothing flash, but that's all they don't have to be to teach reading. So if you keep doing that, over time, a very short time, your child will be able to read. Okay, now thank you for your time. This is Teacher Peter saying goodbye. Goodbye.